Fasten your seatbelts. Is your car dealership ripping you off?
$1,200 service they were recommending, none of which was needed.
We're undercover.
You guys are missing everything. Tire rotation, brake inspection.
Again, overselling.
High-pressure tactics,
Felt like he was trying to scare me.
plus insider secrets.
You have to upsell them. They come in for an oil change, you're upselling somebody.
I'm just trying to get to the bottom of why you're recommending service that isn't required on a vehicle.
This is your marketplace. At some point, we all do this.
I want to drop my car off.
But when you bring your car to the dealership for service,
First time it's coming here, right?
Yeah, I just got it.
how do you know what they recommend
So it's going to be $79.80 inspection.
Okay.
is what's really needed? To find out, we're recruiting Jessica Selsey.
You don't really know who to trust when it comes to getting your car fixed.
With her newly purchased 2008 Honda Civic. This is our bait car. First, we asked Jessica to bring it to this garage for a pre-inspection by licensed mechanic Mark Whitten.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Have you had any issues with it at all? Is there any lights coming on?
Nope, nothing.
Any rattles?
Nope.
None whatsoever. So it's completely dependable. It's starting. It's running all right.
Yes.
After taking it for a test drive, he begins. Once an instructor, Winton is now a vehicle safety advocate. The verdict?
Change the wiper blades, rotate the tires. That should be it.
Jessica's ready to check out what this Toronto Honda dealership recommends.
Well, based on my past experience with dealerships, you know, I have a feeling they're going to try and upsell me.
And Jessica's not alone. We're hearing similar concerns about upselling at dealerships from across the country, including from Kathy Knight.
This looks like the road our house is on. It would be there, but it looks
Oh, that's the way to the park.
Kathy likes to take her grandson Joe around Ottawa in her 2011 Ford Fusion.
There's the park. See, Joe? Just past it.
When her car needs to be serviced, she and her husband Craig always take it back to the dealership.
Why is it important for you to go to the dealership to do your maintenance?
They know the car best, and I just have confidence in them.
You develop a relationship. You depend on them to give you advice. When they give you advice, you take it.
Last fall, Kathy needed her snow tires put on, so Craig makes an appointment online with their dealership. But get this, before even inspecting her car, he gets an email back telling him it's also due for factory-required maintenance.
And it was changing the spark plugs in the intake manifold gasket and changing the transmission fluid, the PCV valve, and holy cow, $1,200 worth of stuff. I was just gonna get the snow tires put on and an oil change.
Time to get a second opinion.
Cars today absolutely, unequivocally require less service.
So how do I know when I go to the dealership what maintenance I really need?
Oh, that's easy. You go to your car,
Yeah. Pull out your owner's manual.
you take out the owner's manual, and right here is the required maintenance schedule. In it will be exactly what needs to be changed, what exactly needs to be inspected. These people designed and built the car. They are the source of information when it comes to maintaining the car.
What the manufacturer suggests in the owner's manual for maintenance and what the dealership suggests are two different things?
In most cases, yes, that's true. They'll tell you that you need more maintenance than your car actually needs. In some cases, some maintenance procedures, your car doesn't require at all.
So what about that list of what Kathy's dealership says she needs?
PCV valve, I wouldn't bother changing it. It's a lifetime product now. The spark plugs on this car, according to the owner's manual, is good for 160,000 kilometers. She is nowhere near that. Change automatic transmission fluid, no.
Well, that's a big list, and you just said no to a lot of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what's going on?
What's going on here is the service advisor is trying to sell this woman a lot more work than she needs.
Back in Ottawa, Craig decides they'll stick to what's recommended in the owner's manual. But the dealership pushes back, telling him the manual is describing normal driving conditions. Here in Ottawa, we have special driving conditions due to the harsh weather.
The owner's manual says nothing at all about special conditions about Ottawa or any other particular city or geographic area or country, and doesn't say anything about the cold weather. It doesn't.
But it's too late for Kathy and Craig.
Did you do the spark plugs?
I did eventually several months later.
How do you feel about that now?
That I was dumb, that I got taken in.
Because this says right here, in the thing that's in your car, 160,000 kilometers.
Yeah, that's another 2 or 3 years of driving. In spite of knowing better, I still did it.
Because?
Because they recommend it and they sort of plant that little seed of doubt and you think, well, maybe they do know what they're talking about.
Dealerships in Canada can make, on average, only about $1,000 to $2,500 on each new car sale. So their service centers have become important money makers. Back on our undercover test, Jessica Selsey checks in at Parkway Honda.
I got you booked in for a peace of mind inspection. Check the brakes, suspension, exhaust, lights, fluids, everything, the whole car. It's basically a safety inspection.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
A couple hours later, Jessica gets a phone call from an assistant service manager at Parkway Honda.
I had the technician do your peace of mind inspection on the car.
Okay.
The only thing he wanted me to talk to you about is actually your brakes. I was road testing the vehicle, and every time he was braking, he felt some vibration. The vibration that he's able to duplicate is coming from the brake drums. They're overheated and they're warped. So what he was suggesting is to replace the rear brake drums and the brake shoes. With parts and labor, it'd be about $621 plus tax.
Wow. Is that something that I can think about?
Sure, if you'd like.
Okay, thank you.
All right, no problem.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Wow.
$621 to replace her rear brakes? They also recommend another $112 for a brake fluid flush.
If she changes them now, she'd be changing them a bit early. She's got 40% left. And that might take another 6 months. She might get a year out of it, depending on her driving.
And I didn't notice anything driving the car.
I didn't either. When I had the drums off, everything looked perfectly normal for that age of brake.
But there's something critical the dealer's not mentioning. The largest recall in automotive history. Metal fragments from the exploding ammonium nitrate capsule inside Takata airbags have killed at least 14 people, hurt more than 180, including a metal shard that went through this woman's face in 2013 while she was driving her Honda Civic.
I've taken the VIN off your car and run it through the Honda system. Your car has a passenger side airbag that's made by Takata that needs to be changed.
Wow. So why wouldn't they have mentioned that to me? He basically said he would be doing everything short of a safety on it, which in my mind should include an airbag.
That is the #1 safety problem facing your car right now.
Right.
It's not rear brakes, it's the airbag recall.
And so for him not to mention that is unbelievable to me.
Jessica heads back to pick up her car. Maybe they'll tell her about the recall in person. The same assistant service manager from the phone call hands her the results of their inspection. But under any outstanding recalls, incredibly, it's checked no. Jessica gives him another chance to own up.
Totally good to go. The first 3 or 4 times I asked him if there was anything wrong with the car or if it had any other safety concerns other than the brakes, he said no.
But then, without having to look it up,
he finally said at the end, oh yeah, I think there's a recall. And then he made mention that he didn't have the part and he'd have to book a later date for me. That just makes me sick because now I'm driving a car that's unsafe to both me and my passengers.
we contact this assistant service manager for an explanation, but get no reply.
Why would a dealership not tell a customer about this?
The dealership has this business relationship that's special under contract with the manufacturing facility. In that agreement, they have to do work at a much reduced rate.
Do you think that ever influences dealerships telling people about recalls?
Absolutely.
So did it influence Parkway Honda? For weeks, we've been asking Parkway Honda to come on camera to explain why they've been recommending Jessica get service she doesn't need, but not telling her about the service that she does need. Well, they've told us they're going to do an internal investigation, but they will not talk to us on camera. That's what they've said. Let's go chat with them. Service manager Era Pashian stops me at the door.
Not allowed with the cameras. This is private property. We ask that you leave.
Okay, but do you have an answer about why she's not being told about the recall?
Please leave. Since you're not allowed here,
But it's still, you know, that's not an answer to the question about why she's not being told about a recall.
Thank you.
It's still not an answer.
Exactly.
The upsell continues.
A power steering push. Your steering, you know, is probably going to get tighter.
That's just funny. It's like totally made up.
This is your marketplace. The real deal on dealerships. We're heading undercover again, testing the advice you get at dealership service centers. Bait car number 2, a 2013 Jeep Wrangler. The owner, Eric, works for us. And for months, he's been getting emails telling him to bring the Jeep in for service. So we asked him to make an appointment here at Toronto Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram.
Good morning.
What will this service advisor recommend?
Definitely an oil change. It should be 6,000 or 3 months, whichever comes first.
But check out Eric's owner's manual. It says it can be up to 16,000 kilometers or 12 months before the change oil message appears. There is no message, and it's only been 8 months and just over 2,000 kilometers since Eric's last oil change.
You're at that mileage now, most likely you're going to need your brake fluid to become fluid.
Her assessment isn't over yet. It'll take a couple hours for their technician to do an inspection. In the meantime, we want to get some inside knowledge, so we tracked down a former service advisor willing to share trade secrets.
When you're a service advisor, you are a salesperson. This is how you make your living, right? So you have to upsell them. They come in for an oil change, you're upselling somebody.
Lucas Lung worked at 6 different dealerships.
We present it in a way and let them know that this is what you should do. If you don't do it, what's going to happen?
I'm a customer coming in. What do you say to me right out of the gate?
Hey, so I see that you're here for an oil change today. You're at 150,000 kilometers. Actually, you're due for a timing belt as well as a coolant flush. You can do it, it's up to you. But if you don't do it, what happens is the belt might wear out. And when it wears out, you know, like this could cause overheating of the engine or cause even more problems down the road.
So was there ever something in the dealership that looked different from what the owner's manual said in terms of a schedule?
They would have a little a board that shows you what needs to be done at what kilometers, but then there are things on the side that they do recommend that's suggested, you know, recommended, but not necessary. For example, power steering flush, throttle body service, transmission flush. You accumulate an X amount of numbers each month, and you get paid based on that.
Meanwhile, Toronto Chrysler's inspection is complete.
Once a year for an oil change is not acceptable.
Not acceptable.
We show the footage to Mark Winton.
You want your warranty to continue with your transmission, you have to keep up on your oil changes. If they ever ask for it, if you have a transmission problem, they're not going to warranty it.
The truth of the matter is, you're going to avoid your warranty if you don't follow Chrysler's scheduled maintenance advice, not hers. This person is saying, you know, you need to change your oil every 3 months. No, this goes against what Chrysler says to do with its own product.
The service advisor lists their other recommendations.
You guys are missing everything. Tire rotation, brake inspection, you do need brakes.
Really? She doesn't know we're also getting Mark Winton to do his own inspection of the Wrangler. So does he need brakes?
I wouldn't do that. I would wait another year or 2. Given how much this car is being driven, it makes no noise. The brakes have full power. Are they worn down? Yeah, they're about half worn down. But the owner's going to get another, year or 2 out of this. No problem.
The service advisor's not finished.
You need an alignment, okay? You need to replace your filters. a whole bunch of things you guys need to do. Your air filter should be replaced once a year.
I just inspected this car. It does not need alignment. The air filter doesn't need to be replaced once a year, according to the maintenance schedule. Again, overselling. There's a conflict of interest in this business, and it's kind of hidden. People don't know they work on commission, but they do.
I would say 90% of these dealerships do work by commission.
How much of your salary could end up being on commission?
More than 50%.
More than 50%?
More than 50%.
Really?
One of the dealerships I have worked for, I was 100% on commission.
Was that an incentive to sell something that either wasn't necessary or wasn't necessary at that moment?
Yes, I would definitely say so. Being on 100% commission, I was very nervous like every day because you don't know how much you're going to be making. Some customers may not necessarily need it right away, but they're obligated to do it because of how I advise it, how I put it on the table.
Back at the dealership,
Your spark plugs are due. Spark plugs basically is the brain of the vehicle. If something goes wrong, first thing we're gonna check is your spark plug.
well, we checked the spark plugs in the owner's manual, and it says Eric's don't need to be changed for another 107,000 kilometers or 6 more years.
A power steering flush. To steering, your steering, is probably going to get tighter because it needs to be flushed at that mileage right now.
They do not recommend flushing it. And as far as this other stuff, it might get tighter, the steering. That's a great one. I mean, that's just funny. It's like totally made up.
Think about it, okay? Just don't wait too long. If you have any questions, just give me a call. Okay?
We do have questions. We call and email, but this service advisor doesn't reply. We also contact the dealership.
But getting answers from Toronto Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram, that's been the tricky part. So we're going to pay them a visit, ask in person.
General Manager, Dave Dodds.
Hey, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. I'm David with CBC Marketplace.
David, I'm sorry, but this is private property. I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you to go.
I can go, but I'm just trying to get to the bottom of why you're recommending service that isn't required on a vehicle, or why you're recommending service more frequently than the manufacturer. Do you have a sense on that? Why you're recommending that service that often? Do your service advisors work on commission?
The dealership is owned by Auto Canada, based here in Edmonton. With 65 franchises across the country, it's one of the largest auto dealer groups in Canada.
We do some digging and find out so far this year they have made more on service than they have on selling new and used cars combined. Well, we asked for some more information. They won't come on camera, but the president of Auto Canada writes to us and says he applauds the manufacturer's maintenance schedule without explaining why his dealership isn't using it.
Will the government crack down?
If someone is found guilty, the penalty can range from a fine to jail time, potentially.
This is your marketplace. Get more Marketplace. Sign up for our weekly newsletter at cbc.ca/marketplace. This is your marketplace. Caught on camera.
My understanding was I was supposed to bring it in for regular maintenance.
Aggressive upselling.
You guys are missing everything.
Misleading inspections.
Had I not pressed him several times, he wouldn't have even mentioned the recall.
If this happens, is there anybody protecting you? To find out, I head to Ontario's watchdog, the Ministry of Government and Consumer Services.
Hey, Harry, I'm David with CBC.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, good to meet you.
Spokesperson, Harry Malley.
What does the law say about a repair shop telling you need to do something before you need to do it, or you don't even need to do it at all?
Repair shops cannot offer services that aren't needed.
Does that mean it's against the law?
It could be in violation of the Consumer Protection Act. So they can't mislead you if it's a service that's not needed. They can't be like, this is needed to fix your car.
What is the range of your power to penalize?
If someone is found guilty, the penalty can range from a fine to jail time, potentially.
It can go all that way?
Yes.
A dealership would say, this is the work that you need to do, and then we would go to experts, and they would say, no, it doesn't need to be done. Your brakes can last for months or maybe another year before they need to be changed.
So in those cases, we want those consumers to reach out to us. If there was a violation, we want to know, so we can do something about it, and we can find any bad actors that may be out there. So we need the help of consumers to make us aware.
You know, I think when I go and buy a car, I am aware that the salesperson makes a commission. That's how they make their money. I think a lot of people would be surprised to learn that many service advisors, people you come and meet, they too are on commission, and that they are essentially incentivized to sell you more.
We want to make consumers aware that they have those rights. They need to know that when they go to these technicians, whether they get a commission or not, they can't offer you services you don't need. And we can look into that if they feel like their rights were violated.
I have worked for brands that really focuses on customer service, like 100% customer service. No, you don't need to really sell. I mean, like, it's
good. So there's good guys.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. I've worked with amazing companies out there.
So what can you do to prepare if you're going into the dealership?
Before you go, look at the mileage on your car, see how many kilometers are on it. Then have a look at that owner's manual, go to the maintenance section, and see what's required at that mileage, or slightly before, somewhere near that mileage, or months. And once you know what that is, go right to that service advisor and say, I want these things done.
And what if they push back?
Well, if they push back, you walk out the door.
Advice Jessica Selsey could use. Since our first bait car test, she's been getting notices in the mail from Parkway Honda.
That I needed spark plugs, shocks, struts, things like that, even though my car was just there and they just inspected it.
But nothing about the Takata airbag.
If it wasn't for Marketplace, I wouldn't have known there was a recall on my car.
Today, she's bringing it to a totally different Honda dealership to finally get that airbag replaced.
It's done! Finally! What a relief! I've been so stressed out about having people in my car, having passengers. Like, I didn't realize how much it was bothering me driving in traffic until now that it's finally done. My car's safe! Yay!
We're inside farmers markets.
The homegrown ones, are they yours then, or is it all local? What do you mean by that?
People at the market don't know they're buying that food and they're being lied to.
Are you really buying direct from the farm? We follow the trail.
Consumers are paying a premium for your product because they think that you grew it. Are you ripping people off?